Hi Leo, and welcome to your weekly readings. This is for the week from February 1st to February 8th. So, without much ado, let's start your weekly shuffle. So what did you have last week? I think last week we were talking about rebirth, and kind of like you did get the rune of happy endings. So, let's see if something already came to your sight or is going to develop this week. Okay, Leo, 1st of February 8th. Let's reshuffle it a little bit more. Oops. Too many cards, but here we have jumpers. And let's see if you can see them all. Okay. The bottom of the deck, Fire Kitten. So, what is your underlying energy for this week? Look at it. You're going to be somebody very inquisitive. You just really want to test new things, and you want to see how things work. Look at this. Like, I don't know if you can see the little kind of tail. Look at it. The tail did catch fire, but like, hey, it doesn't look like this kitty is like even bothered. Hey, this is something new, and I really want to see why is this flickering, and what can I do with that? Like, literally playing with fire. Let this be your kind of like message of the week, playing with the fire. So, let's see how that basically translates into the other cards. I kind of like really find this interesting. You have two major arcanas over here. You have the Priestess and you have the Floating Cat. And you're starting with Sea King. Well, you know, Sea King is like somebody who is very fair. Or, you know, sorry, Sky King. Like, you know, Sky Clan is like really, really noble. They're like the best cats. Usually they're like sort of like race cats. That are kind of like doing things, but in a sort of solitary way. They're really kind of like wise, but at the same time they sometimes like act too quickly. This is basically would be King of Swords. It's a very just king, the king that really, really wants to do the best possible decision, and you can always expect fairness from this king. So because I don't read cards, you know, in inverted position, and I probably will in the future because I did get lots of requests to do that, this particular card can also mean somebody who also still very just, but sort of like following the letter of the law. Well, the rule is like you had to be home at 10. Now it's 10:01. That kind of a thing where, you know, that sticking to the rule, you know, has to have a certain kind of like buffer, which this king does have, and it's really just and is always trying to find among the circumstances what is the best. So the fact that this is occurring to you after the last week means that this could be you, that you had so many good things happening that maybe you're kind of like dwelling on kind of like great things, but like, I mean, let's not, you know, forget that you also had 5 of Sky last week, which are some kind of like really energies of ideas, something that you have been processing and you were not really happy with. But this is saying maybe building on that energy from the last week that you're lifting up, and this is like the highest level in skies, and it will be like the king, and it's somebody who really is ruled with logic, somebody who is really swift, and somebody who did live their life to know what is the answer, somebody you can really trust. So even though the baseline is like you want to experience new things, it maybe even says that maybe it's going to be a guidance in your life, or even if this is just you in both kind of like instances, like that you will try both. You will be both playful, but you also are not going to kind of like take unnecessary risk, or you will know, you know, if something bad happens, that, you know, there will be kind of like a repercussion for it. The other two cards are major arcanas, which means big things are coming to you this week. In particular, I really like this representation of the priestess. So this is somebody really, really wise. So it basically is the matter of contemplation. You are going deep inside of your intuition this week, and you're just trying to see what is that you really, really feel it's coming your way. You're trying to figure out, without all these outward influences, you're surrounding yourself with energy. So this can represent the people that you know have your best interest in mind, and that you really want to spend some, nurturing time with. And also you want to make kind of like certain kind of improvements in your life as well. But the very last card in the sequence is the floating cat. The floating cat, unlike the hangman, is like somebody who actually has fun, like turning things upside down. Check it out. This is just basically the same thing here. Well, you know what? I'm doing things differently. I'm going to get myself burned. Hey, so what? And here as well. This kind of like would really help if this is a part of your personality you're developing or you're currently going through, is looking at things from different perspective. Because what a just ruler has to do, you just cannot do and kind of like base things on your own experiences. You have to always be able to look at things from a different person's perspective. So let's say, I don't know, like the example to give it to you, somebody's really, really I don't know, let's go like it's some really, really bad example. I'm sorry about that. Somebody's like eating lots of bad food and they know it's really bad for them, but for some reason they cannot kind of like stop themselves. So maybe they have to look into perspective. Well, look at this person who actually is slim and who is slender. What are they doing in their life, and how does the world looks from their perspective? What do they value? And if I kind of accumulate some of those issues and some of those activities, like, would that kind of reflect on me? So sort of like understanding also, like, and for us looking at this person is understanding where this person comes from. Maybe this person has like a medical problem. Maybe this person is just like, addicted to carbs. Maybe this person has emotional problems, and right now this is a nurturing and soothing for them. And we are not going to be like really, really quick to judge. Somebody once told me the story of a person on a subway who had two kids who were screaming and shouting, and certainly they were really, really big disruption. And you know how much people like to hear that noise on a subway. And yet their father was sitting there quietly, just looking in the floor, didn't even bother even kind of like disciplining or kind of like bringing kids to himself. And these kids were wreaking havoc. And finally a passenger came to him and asked him, listen, I'm concerned, these kids are kind of like getting loose, and something will happen to them, and could you please discipline them? And when the guy looked up, he had tears in his eyes, and he said he lost his wife. So this is kind of like putting these things in perspective, and this is what the floating cat does. You never know what the other person is going through, so be wise. Be wise to acknowledge that. Be wise to acknowledge that, we only see the tip of the iceberg when we see the person, and we kind of like want to take everything in account, and we want to make ourselves better. And to make ourselves better, we also have to try new things. We have to get ourselves burned, and that way we also understand people better. So your message for the week would be wise. And next would be your rune reading.